Welcome back to another episode of Viscount Gaming. I'm here, I'm your Viscount. My name is Vernon, of course, and welcome back to the Tavern. And if this is your first time, well, welcome anyway. I really need to make an intro. I really need to work on that. Anyway, but the good news is we have another new episode and, of course, another new topic within the tabletop gaming, circle, because not everything begins and ends with D&D. Sometimes you gotta go outside the box. And speaking of outside the box, the guest for today is actually, believe it or not, one of my DMs for a certain alternative tabletop game, which of course it is run by the Renegade Games Transformers. Why? Because hey, I'm an '80s kid. That's what I enjoy, and finally, guess what? Dreams do come true. So, welcome here to the Tavern. This is Sabercho. What's up?
Oh, just eager to share the news about the new Transformers game because, it's been how many decades since somebody's tried this last?
True. Very true. Decades. And on top of that, this game's gone live when? As far as, I remember there was initially there was the playtest ability and stuff, and then of course you got the final game release. But what was that, like last year?
Funny thing about that, if I remember correctly, it was released 6 days before my birthday last year.
What timing is that?
Less than a week on my birthday.
Amazing.
I know, right?
Yeah,
It's like Renegade was me a birthday present just for me.
there you go. Some people won the lottery. But yeah, but the thing about it is, like, since the game's come out, and there's always been, ever since the 1986, there's almost, wow, oh my God, I'm so old. Ever since then, there's always been some iteration of the Transformers on TV from, Generation 1, Beast Wars, and then, you had the Headmaster Trilogy in Japan, which came over to America. Ever since then, there's always been some form of Transformers in there. Armada to Prime to now, there's always been one, but only now, only with the last couple of years, going along with the big, tabletop gaming D&D boom coming out of Stranger Things and Critical Role, you finally get a Transformers TTRPG.
I know it's a long time coming.
But on top of that, what I can't believe is that look how little Hasbro and Renegade has done to actually like push this game, like put it out there. There's only like one, if you look on like YouTube, I haven't tried anything else. And even if you look on like Twitch or Kick, you don't see anybody playing this TTRPG. You see more people playing like games like uh, Mask or you know uh, old school Essentials online than you do playing the Transformers TTRPG. I mean, ever since it came out, I've been looking. I don't know about you, but I've been looking.
I've been looking too. It's a hard thing to find.
Well, well, the good thing is we found it, hence we're having a conversation here. But I had to ask you because I've been playing it with you, of course, past few weeks and everything, which has been. Oh, actually, I take that back. It's been months actually now.
Months now, yeah.
Yeah, we play for those listening. We've been playing a weekly campaign set in pretty much the Prime universe, which is of course the Aligned community, and it's been a great time. But me as a player, I have my thoughts, but I'm curious for you. How is it for you running this game system, especially being someone who, like myself, used to sit down at your in the living room with your toys and play with them as a kid, and now you're in an adult and you're guiding people through a guided hallucination. How's it running for you as a player, as a game master?
Like that. Um, but no, for me, I have a condition called attention deficit disorder, which means that um, I kind of have a special ability to have lots of different things on the go. And the way I've been able to use it to run a roleplay campaign is um, in my head, I can have a scene play out from so many different NPCs' point of views. And, you know, Megatron would see it this way, Soundwave would see it this way, Optimus is looking at it from this perspective, and all that whirlwind becomes organized chaos, and then gets projected through my mouth to um, for the players to visualize.
Cool.
So yeah, it's not always the greatest thing to be easily distracted from getting something done to completion, but if you can find a way to flip it on its head and turn it into an advantage, um, like I with the GM's chair, it help.
Cool. And of course you've run other systems like 5e, am I right? And I think there's another one you ran as well. See.
Yeah, there's another game system that I've been in love with for years, right? More than a decade actually. The system's called Big Eyes Small Mouth, and it's an anime-based role-play system. Uh, they do it by point buy to get your stats. You get points to spend on attributes. You gain more points by accepting defects on your character sheet and all that. And unlike most other systems, Big Guy Small Mouth just uses D6s. That's it.
Okay,
Most of the
so
rolls are two.
also uses dice
Rolls
pool.
are yeah,
Oh, cool.
yeah. There is dice, but attacking is 2d6, defending is 2d6, skill checks 2d6, 2d6 all over the place. No need for d20s and percent dice and 8 plus 2d4. just just very streamlined and simple. I like it.
Me, I go from the only other system I kind of play on a regular, aside from the D20, is of course the um, PTM, which of course requires a dice pool. So I can see the benefits of that definitely for simplicity's sake. And
Mhm.
speaking of it, how do you feel going from that system to the Essence 20 system used by Renegade Games?
Um, it's definitely a little more complex than Vezin, but you know, everything is more complex than Vezin, so it's not really a big surprise. Um, but I do like the concept of buying bigger skill dice with your leveled up skill points, um, and just being able to pick up every dice and just toss them across the table. It's kind of fun.
Yes, it is. I'm a self-admitted dice goblin. So yeah. Also, I just got to ask, like, when you're coming up with concepts for when you come up with concepts for games, especially within like the Transformers universe, you gotta tell me what are your like go tos for a setting. Because I mean, if you look at the Transformers throughout the '80s history, Gen 1 to Beast Wars to, you know, Energon and Armada, they're totally different, and very few things are the same, that are through points. But tell me, what are your go to eras?
Um, well, I have one campaign universe that I've been working on for um, about 18 years now. Um,
Ooh,
the campaign universe is called Eurona, and it's just been added to bits and pieces here and there. Um, one day I sat down and thought, well, what would a top secret Black Ops sort of Justice League organization look like? And then I came up with the Vigilant Enforcers in Eurona. And incidentally, I kind of like that name as soon as it came up with it, because if you take just the first letter of the second word, then it gets smaller by calling it Vigilante.
okay.
But another favorite thing I like to do is give myself a what if scenario. Like, for example, the Transformers game that you play in uh, came from watching a Transformers episode where Optimus was on Earth and he put out a transmission into deep space, reaching pretty much everywhere. And he put out a call to uh, regroup on Earth, to support an offense against Megatron, and only four Autobots responded to that out of all the Autobots in the universe. No, no. So I asked myself, well, what if a handful of additional bots heard the call, came and signed up, and those additional bots were the game's players. And that idea came about around Christmas last year, and it got started, and it's been a blast.
Okay. Funny because when they first, came, broke the idea of this, you know, Essence 20 game system, me as just a player and at the time a DM, I was, I would sit there while working on other things or, bored at work, let's be honest, and I would brainstorm situations to come out for games for, the Transformers universe. And I used to just, it turned me back into a 6 year old, it was crazy. But it was, just, I was chomping at the bit to get my hands on this game. And the thing is, to run this game, you have to have people to play with. And wouldn't you know it, man, I couldn't find anybody who was running this game. Nobody. I lucked out in finding your table, which I'm very happy with because I had a lot of fun. I've been having fun. If I wasn't having fun, I wouldn't be here. I'm not one of those guys that will suffer through, a RPG horror story. I don't do that. I got more important things to do. My time is precious.
Mm-hmm.
So I would just, if I didn't like it, if I was having a good time, I would be gone. And so far, our, party is stuck together for the past few months. It's grown and shrunk, but it's still got those main characters.
Right. Yeah.
And honestly, I gotta say, it's masterful work on your part because you keep it, fun and exciting, and let us do the crazy things we do in the game. And I really thank you for that. I tip my hat to you for that one.
Yeah. I've been the player for several GMs in the past, and it seems that having a GM who likes to go through um, the mental calisthenics of adjusting to players' ridiculous ideas is very hard to find. It's not easy to it's not easy to find a GM who likes those mental exercises. But me, I like to have players throw a monkey wrench into things makes me makes me stay on my toes.
I honestly, I think that that's the probably the greatest advice I ever heard from a DM. Well, two pieces of great advice I heard from two GMs was first one was from my regular DM for over a year. A guy named Alex. He was out here in Gainesville, and I told him about what I wanted to do for one shot. Well, I was showing my prep notes and everything, and he says, "Dude, you're doing too much." I said, "Why?" He says, "Look, you can't plan for every single outcome these guys are coming with, or you're gonna drive yourself crazy. Because all they have to do is say, 'I want to try this,' and you may as well burn all that stuff you did right now." So he told me like strip down what you're gonna do, and it'll make it runs easier. And oh my God, he's right. Now my notes used to be like very detailed. Now I have like bullet points, and I also use a timer to make sure we get to a certain place because I run a lot of one shots. And that was great information. That was great advice. The second was from Joe Manganiello. He has a video on the Dungeon Dragons YouTube page where he said the greatest piece of DM advice he gives to people is always be ready to pull things out of your ass. And he's right.
Right.
Yeah, that's and also I carry that forward to other people. Whenever I see something online on a like on a Discord or be it a Facebook or something on the groups or any even in person, when someone asks me like, "Hey, what do I have to do to be a dungeon master or a game master?" That's what I tell them. Hey, always be ready to pull something out of your ass. You cannot attest for everything people are going to throw at you. You can't guess what these players are going to do, and that's the fun part. Don't limit yourself. Let them come up with stuff, but be ready to be ready to say things like, "You want to do what?"
Yeah, I hear you because there's this one time I had a player who decided that he was going to throw a party member up in the air and try to hit a jet with the party member.
I don't know what you're
And the
talking about.
party member said, "You don't." I said, "No, no, I don't have enough." But no, it's a little game called Toss the Dwarf, except in this case, the dwarf is your medic, and you're trying to bring down an aircraft with your medic, and it's people have some crazy imagination going on, and you gotta balance it. So
You're right. It's the good old fastball special. Um,
there you go.
um, of course, we talk about all the good, but I gotta ask you, what would you think is like the bad of running any snags or problems you've seen with the SS20 system when you're running games, or things you would like to see improved?
Well, there is something that, as a GM, I've kind of lamented over, and that is that Essence 20 seems to have been written by um, people who like to be in the player chair. Um, there's a lot of shiny stuff offered to the players. Um, there's all kinds of ways of fudging the dice and tweaking things up and all the rest of that. Um, but doesn't seem to be as much influenced by people who are thinking in favor of the GM. And so the little bit of house ruling that I've done has been to balance up the extra shine given to the players versus the extra shine that the monsters are wanting.
I see. I see how that was. That's something I hear a lot about in, of course, in 5e D&D 5e. A similar problem with a lot of your supplemental entries because if you look at the books that have come out, and I'm not the only one who's noticed this too, but you see there's a lot more options for players but not for much for you to challenge him with, on the other side of the screen. And that's always been something I wanted to see with the SN20 system, especially with Transformers, because if you look at the lore, there aren't many enemies outside of like other bots. I mean, you got some human
Right.
elements like you know, you got Mech, which came around relatively recently with Transformers Prime. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you remember the episode with Crimzeek and
Right.
he had
Yeah.
the Rust, and you have but the thing is, those are very much villain of the week type deals, and then it was back to business as
Right.
usual. Fighting equal terrorist. Megatron. So I was always wondering, like, what do you do to, how do you keep it fresh with that? I mean, you can only watching, them take on like the cassettes every week is okay for a TV show, but how do you do that? How do you adjust for a campaign of players, that, especially ones that are older that have been there and done that? How do you keep that fresh?
Well, um, something that my players regularly applaud uh, about my play style is that I'm not afraid to um, I'm not afraid to dip into the multiverse so much um, because you know, I mentioned before, like, I like to ask myself, what if? So, what if at the same time as Transformers is happening on Earth, what if Stargate SG-1 is also happening on Earth?
I remember that.
And that opens up a whole new kettle of fish because suddenly Megatron's not the only one with a galaxy-spanning space bridge. The humans have the ability to walk 10 feet beyond another planet too. And, SG1 has a plethora of different aliens that are out too. So um, if I if I want to throw a little extra semen in the batter, so to speak, um, I could have a system lord bring a couple of capital ships into Earth's orbit and see what the Autobots do with it.
Nice. I mean, I've seen you pull that on us before, but I'm curious what's happening next. But please, no spoilers. It's hurting me. I'm trying to keep us out of spoilers territory because next week we're gonna be doing this on. We'll be doing this again. Of
No,
course.
I know, and I'm being careful not to talk about what I haven't shared already in role play sessions with you guys on Monday. But you know, most recently, Transformers Prime has not shown us any combiners. So, for the first time ever in that sort of setting, recently I've had um, a third party group of Cybertronians throw a combiner on the battlefield, and that was just a delicious surprise that I had trouble going to sleep afterward. Especially the medic. She had a peek at the TCOG for these combiner types, and I was plain as day about it. Um, the TCOG for these people is like this weird mutated cog kind of deal,
Hmm.
and the NPC medic was not allowed to figure it out. Um, but the player medic had just the same description, and it was totally left field surprise when they all sort of jumped on each other and formed um, a huge quarterback ready ready to break line, so to speak.
Very nice. I love surprises like that.
Gage is going to hurt me for that one because she's hoping that her little oversight is going to be like gotten in a minute,
Hmm.
but it's on the internet. So you're welcome, Gage.
So, of course, I gotta hit you with some more questions before we wrap up. But one thing I gotta ask, I ask everybody the same thing. What's your favorite natural 20 story? Go.
Oh, well, there's a crit success story that to tell, which goes hand in hand with the perfect crit fail story.
Okay.
Um, I had just gotten my hands on the Big Eye Small book. Um, Nobody was running a game. I was looking to run a one-off demo to get familiar with the system. A bunch of guys from work decided to be my players for it. Um, my boss at the time joined the table as player, and he made this dual wielding telephone assassin. So I ran a scenario in which they got hired by a caravan to go through a bandit infested um, lightly forest back road to get from city A to city B. Um, Really basic, but it worked. Um, the bandits ambushed them by being up in the trees with bows and arrows, and my boss Thomas, he spots one of them, teleports into the tree branch behind him, and then tries a stabbing attack, and he misses by two. Um, but he says, "It's okay, Rich. It's okay. I got the offhand attack. I can still do this." He pulls it up, misses that one by one. Right. So you can see the desperation on his eyes, and he's like, "Rich, can I try an intimidate check?" And I go, "Sure, okay, whatever, go ahead." And so he leans forward on the couch and he whispered tones, he says, "Now you're going to die."
Oh.
And he rolled his intimidate check, and the intimidate check was a crit success.
Ooh.
Every Everybody around the table was cheering like nobody's business, but I had to cut him off and say, "Hey, look, 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 look." I did a morale check to try and dumb that down a little bit. And so I threw my dice, and my dice were crit fail.
Oh. Oh.
So, in the face of a crit success intimidation check and a crit failure morale check, um, the guy who didn't get a scratch on him, wet pants, the water went down his leg and under his boot, causing his foot to slip, and his other foot slipped the other way, and he landed on the branch in a way no man ever wanted to land on a branch. Um, and so, stunned from the damage there, he kind of rolled off counterclockwise and started to fall. But as he fell, he hit his head on a branch lower down the tree and started spinning clockwise. And then spinning clockwise, he hits another branch, spinning him back around counterclockwise until he was 180 degrees, toes high, head down when he finally reached the ground. And the first death of the demo that kicked me off on my small mouth um, came from two straight misses. And even though he missed, it was like this bloody compressed mess down at the roots of the tree. And Thomas just he just about actually rolled off the couch laughing. It was beautiful.
Oh God.
You okay?
Was not expecting that. I'm trying not to laugh over you. I'm sorry, but how?
Hey,
Oh,
podcasts are about stuff, right? So laugh.
oh
It's a
God,
good
that was
story.
great. So, okay.
Incidentally, at the end of the demo, the caravan got to City B, safe and sound. Everything was great. Two of my players, separately from each other, um, chimed in and said, "Okay, so same time next week." And and with that question, my one-off training demo turned into a 13-month campaign that didn't even stop for Christmas.
Nice. You got him coming back for more. That's beautiful.
Indeed.
I got one more question for you, and this is just because I like to on these off funky episodes I do. I just gotta ask you something to bake your noodle. Little versus question for you. Who do you think will win in a fight in the middle of, say, New York City? Devastator or King Kong?
Devastator or Kong? Hmm. Uh, I don't know, man.
Yeah, you weren't ready for that, were you?
Uh, I would have to give it to Kong, actually, uh, because Devastator does carry a big gun. We've seen that, but to he also likes to throw melee his at his targets. Um, so if Devastator goes toe on toe with Kong, we know that Kong likes to rip stuff up, and so um, as a combiner, the shoulders and the hips of Devastator are natural weak points. And so if Kong decided to take an arm off, it would be easier than, say, taking the arm off Omega Supreme. And then he's got a Constructicon billy club to pummel Devastator in the face with. So I'm about 640 in favor of Kong.
Gotcha. Well, I was actually not expecting an answer, but that's okay. Now I'm thinking about it too. Once we go off here, but hey, as I like to say, but that's for another adventure. But for right now, hey, Sabercho, you got other things going on with you right now that you're going to tell people about?
Well, startplaying.games is the website you guys found me waiting for players on, and now I'm fixing to start another campaign to run alongside Transformers, and it'll be a Neurona campaign running Big Eyes Small Mouth uh, core rulebook, and yeah, it'll be that'll be starting probably September, maybe October. It'll be up and running by my birthday because you I want to have that in place before birthday plans send me to a bar for the first time in 3 years. Some silly thing like that. I don't know. But yeah, high fantasy game setting, magic as well as muscle, um, anime influence all over the place. It's been fun.
Outstanding. Like I say, hey, thank you again for your time. It's always appreciated. We'll do a DM out today, but unfortunately, we got some other things to take care of. Matter of fact, you're about to run off to another game yourself. So, I'm not going to keep you from that table. So once again, Sabercho, thank you, and I'm definitely going to see you next week. And hey, everyone else, same time, some other place, some other way. Listen in. This is Viscount Gaming. Come on back to the tavern because next time we got something different.